Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the OC Gridiron Show Championship Edition. Steve, we are championship week coming up. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody, but we got some games to talk about. Got 5 Orange County teams playing this week on Friday and Saturday. Got an all Orange County battle. We got an all Trinity League battle. How do you feel about these finals coming up this week? Are you excited, Steve?
Yeah, I am. Bosco Mater Day is always a lot of fun. And, Mission Viejo Servite, I think if you and I would have drawn up, like, who do we want to see a Division II final? What's the most intriguing game for guys like you and I? I think Mission Viejo Servite would be way up there. And then El Dorado, what a story. Them just rolling through. And Corona Del Mar, 4th place team in the Sunset League. We talk a lot about good leagues and how they get you ready for the path. Corona Del Mar, Sunset League, that league got them already. And they had also played, every team on their schedule, including league, right? All 10 of their regular season opponents all went to the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, let's start with those Sea Kings. They're in the Division 4 final, Steve, on Friday night, playing at Serna, which is a team that we've talked about a time or two here on the Gridiron Show and seen. They came in and did quite a number, for example, on Tesoro earlier this season. And now we got Corona Del Mar, but so the word on Serna is they're physical. They like to run the football. For the season, they've already run for a little bit over 3,000 yards as a team, which is about double what they've passed for. But you got to give Corona Del Mar credit for they just beat a physical team, a reigning champion in the semifinals in Yorba Linda. And this is a game that maybe feeds into, one of the strengths of Corona Del Mar is their linebacker group with Christian Brooks and that group. What do you think of this game?
I picked Serna to win the division a couple, 3-4 weeks ago, whatever it was. Seems like a year ago. But Serna, they averaged 235 rushing yards a game, Dan. They got this running back named Owen Long who ran for 155 yards on only 13 carries when they beat Culver City last week, 52-31. They got another guy, Adrian Castro, ran for 89 yards and a couple touchdowns, just like Long did. They only threw the ball 10 times, I think, against Culver City. They're going to, as good as that Sea Kings group is, Christian Brooks and Emerson Tingley at linebacker, et cetera. Tom Telesco's kid, Telesco Jr. In the backfield as well. Really a tough match for the Sea Kings. I like Caleb Annette, the quarterback at Corona Del Mar, having a really fine season. Russell Weir, really good receiver too. Continue that tradition there. But I think Serna is going to wear them out, going to control the clock, and just keep pounding, and might wear down the Corona Del Mar boys. And Serna is my choice.
Okay. This has been a hard game for me to pick because I feel like that was quite a statement, victory by Corona Del Mar last week against Yorba Linda, who I've seen they're physical. They love to run the ball with Coach Bailey. And I think they were starting to peak. And I just like that spot where Annette is with in some of the offensive schemes. I think Corona Del Mar's got some comeback capability. So I'm gonna pick the Sea Kings to have the surprise in this one. I think they got something special, and hats off to Coach Hedek. I think that linebacker group is gonna do okay, and I think they're gonna surprise Serna with some of their offensive scheming. So I got CDM in the upset in Division 4. All right, let's go to Division 1. All these games are pretty hard to cover, but LA Coliseum, Memorial Coliseum on Friday night, 7:00, Mater Day, St. John Bosco. It's the 6th time in the past 7 Division 1 championships that these national powers are hooking up, both 11-1. But, the big stat, Steve, is, last time these teams hooked up, it was the goose egg that, has everybody still talking, how Bosco beat Mater Day 28-0. How are the Monarchs going to respond? They've played, I think, better since that loss. And then the Braves, they're coming off a thriller, 43-42. They survived against Corona Centeno in the semifinals. And I thought Mater Dei was so impressive last week against Sierra Canyon. That was an undefeated Sierra Canyon team, and they handled them pretty good. Maybe it took them a little while to land that knockout punch, but at the end of the day, that's an impressive performance against the undefeated team in Sierra Canyon. So what do you think, Steve? Who are you going to pick in this game? Can Mater Dei get redemption for that 24-22 loss in the finals last year at the Rose Bowl against the Braves? Are the Braves going to win back-to-back titles for the first time? Where's this Mater Dei program going to go? I think this is kind of a crossroads game, perhaps, for the Monarchs.
Yeah, I think that 28-0 win for Bosco. Yeah, it's hard to beat a good team twice and all that good stuff. Accurate. That's why it's a cliche, but cliches become cliches because they're true. But I really think that Bosco has a bit of a mental edge, psychological edge coming to this game. Boy, they held Elijah Brown to 81 yards passing, and Mater Dei only rushed for 2.7 yards a game because Bosco played a near perfect game. I think they're capable of doing it again. And there's a factor in this game. I call it an X factor, and that's Coach Jason Negro of St. John Bosco. He is a great big game coach, just like Rawlinson was over at Mater Dei. Just knew how to get guys ready. Frank McManus, first-year head coach, 7 years assistant before becoming head coach of Mater Dei. Frank's going to be a great big game head coach one day. Right now, that title in this game belongs to one coach right now, Jason Negro. Frank's going to get there, man. Trust me. But right now, Jason Negro is the guy for that. So I think Jason knows how to manipulate and get kids ready for a big game like this. So it's not going to be a 28-point difference, but I think Bosco's going to come out ahead on this.
Yeah, I definitely think that way, that it's going to be much closer. Yeah. And I kind of look at this, Steve, as I don't think Bosco can play any better than they did the first time. So I think they had a lot of things that went right for the Braves in that game. Traditionally the last couple of years in this rivalry, the loser of the league game has, won the CIF championship game. So I think that's something building for the Monarchs. I think I do believe when they say they still were trying to gel, schematically with their new coaches and getting that big game experience. I don't think they were quite ready for it, and they'll be much more prepared. I love the high school athletics. I love the revenge factor for high school young athletes. Yeah. Boys and girls out there. I think that's one thing that you tell them, if they're trying to get revenge that second time, they typically play a lot better. I can't see Elijah only throwing for 80 yards again and no touchdowns. Right. And the word is Mater Dei is somewhat healthier on the running back. Jordan Davison, he barely played in the last game. Nate Frazier is supposed to be back as well, so that will help Mater Dei. Zabian Brown barely played in that last game. That secondary, I love that. I'm interested to see how Mater Dei secondary matches up against Caleb Sanchez, who's sizzling hot. But I'm picking Mater Dei. With all the respect to Coach McManus, I think some of those factors that I mentioned and the Mater Dei talent, if they can, they got to play a really great game though. And we'll see if they can deliver it. Definitely, they're going to have to play their very best game of the season. They have a lot of work to do. We'll see, but I believe in their talent, and I also believe in the coaching. But I'm going with the talent on the field and the players in this one, and we will see how it goes. But I'm picking Mater Dei, so we disagree right out of the. But I think we maybe we'll start continue to disagree as we look at the Saturday schedule. Want to start in Division 7, Cinderella type story here in El Dorado. Coach Zach Lamonda, OC Coach of the Year candidate, back helping reestablish El Dorado since the days of Jeff Bailey at with the Golden Hawks. So they're back in the finals, rally big time in the semifinals. So they're going to play host at Valencia High School to Mayfair out of the Gateway League. Pretty darn good league. That's the same league that Warren comes out of. And interesting enough about Mayfair, Steve, is that they have a common opponent with El Dorado. One of it was Chino, and that was an interesting team for Orange County because that's a Chino team that beat El Dorado and Laguna Beach by 1 point earlier this season. That was a pretty good team. I think they were the top seed in Division 7. So here here
Yeah.
comes Mayfair, and they got a lot of players as well. What do you, and of course we know about El Dorado, Nate Bento, having a great year at quarterback, Isaiah Quintero back at running back, big physical line. They got a good linebacker, Mac Jones. Who do you pick in this one?
I'm really set up picking against El Dorado, Dan. I got to go with the Golden Hawks. I'm tired of getting grief from Zach Lamonda about picking against his team, and then he wins, and I'm getting text messages from Zach, and I don't want to do that anymore. So I'm picking the Golden Hawks to win, not just because trying to settle Lamonda down, but basically because I should have stayed a believer when I saw the way they beat the snot out of Foothill. Physical domination in the interior line play. Wow, what a surprise. Zach Lamont is good at coaching linemen, right? But you're such a good lineman at San Diego State and at Servite. But I'm going with the Golden Hawks. I'm a big Nate Bento guy. I said that before. I think he's a really solid, no mistakes guy. Can run it pretty good too. Good arm. Running back group with Murray and Quintero, very fine. So I'm going with the Golden Hawks in this one, and we will be talking about Zach as Coach of the Year with a couple other pretty good candidates, including a guy we're going to be talking about here next.
That's right. This is a great quarterback matchup. Mayfair got a good quarterback, Jeremiah Calvin, got a two-way guy, and Chaz Gilbreth is a guy to watch at receiver DB. I'm also picking the Golden Hawks, get that win at home. I think they are, playing physical. They're playing inspired, coming off that dramatic, overtime win in the semifinals. They're at home again. I'll let Golden Hawks to get it. So, hey, last game of the docket here on Saturday. This is a great one for OC fans, right? Division II final. What a great bracket that was. Has been so competitive. You got Servite going down to Mission Viejo. So, two inspiring stories, really a lot of resiliency on this team, on this matchup, because you got the Diablos that lost their league showdown against San Clemente 20-10 on their home field. And since then they got off the mat, and here they are in the finals for the first time under Coach Chad Johnson. So, and they continue to work. They excelling with the two quarterbacks situation that you love, Steve. They got, they got some guys going both ways, as well. And finding their passing game. Spatford is playing really well. Their sophomore receiver. They're running it better. But then you got this, Servite Friars, and they were 1-9 last year. And like Coach Reiner doesn't want to hear about last year, but it is true. And they've had a really bounce back year. And they lost their last, regular season game 49-0 to Jay Serra, but they've been lights out, winning in the playoffs. They, rallied to beat Poly in the semifinals. You're at that game. They beat Serra on the road, even though Serra wasn't full strength and missing their two best players, but still a win nonetheless. And they got out in a lead in that game. So this is a really hard game to pick because I think both teams are running it well. Quaid Carr, Hines Ward for the Mission Viejo, Leo Hannon and the Mission Viejo quarterbacks are playing real well, not making many mistakes. Good lines on both sides. Even, Servite's younger offensive line is performing well. And we know Mission's, their line's playing well. Good, scrappy defenses that are making turnovers. Man, who do you got in this game, Steve?
Well, I've gone back and forth on this one. It's pretty funny you talk about my love for the two quarterback thing. I was talking to Jack Matranga, their excellent linebacker at Mission Viejo, at the press luncheon thing on Monday, and I told Jack, I hate this two quarterback thing you guys are doing, but it's working. And Chad Johnson was sitting about 5 feet away talking to somebody else. I said, but who am I to second guess Chad Johnson, about how to play quarterbacks, right? So it's working for him. Luke Fay's been great, and Drayden Trudeau's been terrific too. But they don't miss anything when they move guys in. I've seen Mission play a couple times. I'm going with Mission Viejo in this game. I think they're, enough of the quarterbacks and all that stuff. I really love their defense guy. Jaden Williams on the outside's pressure guy. Yeah. Junior defensive end, way up there in sacks and et cetera. And Matrangan, et cetera, at linebacker. That great defensive backfield with Dijon Lee Jr. and Trey Tomer.
Yeah.
Good special teams too.
Yes, they did.
I picked Servite to beat Serra. I didn't know that they were going to be down. Sarah's going to be down 2 running backs. When I saw that went over Paul, I go, these guys are nuts. They're crazy good. Swarming to the ball. The spirit, the brotherhood thing is alive, and it is cooking at a high speed, high boiling point. They're so good. But I think that there's just a lot of veteran talent on the Viejo side, and that is going to play a difference. Those, Servite's young, hungry, crazy good. I wouldn't put it past Servite to do this again. I just, it seems like they're like a destiny team. Chris Reinert turned that thing around, brought a bunch of old Servite dudes in, and they're all, credoed out, So, but I'm going with Mission. I just think that senior level talent is there.
Yeah, I agree. There's some excellent seniors on that Mission Viejo team. I have thought about there was Salgado Medina, the kicker, is really good. For Mission Viejo, I think that could be a factor. He's a touchback guy, long field goal guy. It could be that kind of tight game. It's been like for you is a hard game for me to pick because I do believe that Mission Viejo is good. I mean, I do believe Servite can move the ball. I think, Quade Carr has been breaking runs on just about everybody. And I think that Leo Hannon has shown the capability of making some big throws. And I like their flow of their offense. And I think I think Aiden O'Callahan is a big weapon for them at tight end. And I think that's tough for anybody in high school football to cover a real active tight end. And he's a matchup guy. He stretches the field in the middle. So I'm picking Servite. I feel like they're kind of that team of destiny, and they're going to somehow find a way. I've picked against them a bunch of times. I didn't think they were going to be Poly. I wouldn't have picked them if I didn't pick them last week when I thought, if Sincere Rainey was playing, I thought Sarah would definitely win that game, and maybe they would have. I don't know. But there's other times that I haven't picked Servite this year, but I was real impressed with, the way they're playing and the way they're making plays. So I think it's going to be a great game. But, I think especially if Servite can get off to a decent start, I think that seems to be their Achilles tendon. If they don't get off to a good start, they could get in some trouble, but their confidence seems so high. But I know Mission's confidence is high too. It's a hard game to call. Both of these teams, I'll say this, I'm high on both of them for next year. I think Servite's going to definitely be better. And I think Mission Viejo, while they are losing some key seniors, that they're going to probably be a little bit better as well next year. If they develop a little bit some of their linemen, but they're young and they on the offensive side as far as skill position. So I could see the Diablos being really good. And the other guy I was trying to game is Dijon Lee is playing a lot more receiver, and he's definitely a factor. He's a former Servite guy as well. So there's some interesting twist with Dijon. So it's going to be a great game. It's a great game for Orange County football. And, I'm definitely looking forward to that Saturday night.
Yep. Like I say, I wouldn't put it past Servite. And by the way, Servite's offensive line play is fantastic. Frank Khalil, back at Servite coaching. He's, an elite line coach. And one of the funniest guys you'll ever meet too. But I'm going with Mission in that game. But if Servite wins, I'm not going to go, I didn't see this coming. I can kind of see it coming. I'm really close to picking Servite in this game, but I just, I'm siding with the Diablos at home.
Super hard game to pick. So
the game's not moving. They're keeping it there. Don't even think about it. Nobody. It's all not going to go to Saddleback College. Michigan is going to put a bunch of, bunch of bleachers on the north end of the end zone. It'll be fine. Parking will be a little bit difficult. Get there early. Go get a Diablo dog. Have a great time.
Yeah, Diablo's put on a great show. They've hosted big games before, and they'll do fine with their at the stadium. It'll be a good time for all, and great Orange County game. So we disagree on Mission Servite. We disagree on Modern Day Bosco, and we disagree on La Serna Corona Del Mar. So lots of exciting games coming up. Congrats to everybody. And
Yes.
stick with us all weekend. After Thanksgiving, we'll have you guys covered.
All right. Take care, everybody. Thanks.